Listen, I will always eat pizza. You don't need to give me a wine for that.
Hey, you're listening to Seltzerquest, where we try the best and worst in hard seltzers and offbeat beverages so that you don't have to. We suffer for our art because we believe that suffering is good content. If you like listening to us suffer, or have recommendations for beverages for us to review, email us at holler@seltzerquest.com. Again, that's holler@seltzerquest.com. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and YouTube and follow our social media at instagram.com/seltzerquest. Engage with us through whatever channel you like, because in this robotically driven world, engagement is all that matters. Alright, now that's out of the way, let's do a podcast. Hello and welcome to Wait, Don't Drink Me, the NPR review show. I'm your host, Merlin the Beverage Wizard. We're playing this week with Derek the Maverick, the one, the only, Josh, and Danielle, the Queen of Apple River. Now, here's your host from Derek's apartment in downtown Minneapolis, M the Texan.
Thank you, Merlin. All right, I'm glad that we have y'all here for this today. We have 4 wines for you to try. We got a couple of different segments, and we're going to have a great time, or at least get drunk while trying. All right, so without further ado, let's jump into the first one. It is Ilpino Pinot Grigio.
How many Pinots was that?
2.
That's more than I'd expect.
Yup, and they're both spelled a little bit different. The year is 2020, and it is from Italy. Now, a little bit about this wine. It is, so according to this little slip in front of me here, Northern Italy is Pinot Grigio's spiritual home, and high-altitude Venezia is where you will find some of the finest examples. This one is made by Giuseppe Secchi, whose expert local knowledge led him to the top-performing vineyards in Italy's stellar 2020 vintage. Boasting a gold medal from prestigious guide Gilbert and Gaillard, it's just the kind of thirst-quenching wine you'd sip at a cafe in nearby Venice. Judges love the pleasant nose, marrying stone fruits, fine spices, and a floral touch. Now let's see how much bullshit this is. That's not public radio, I can swear.
We're on public radio now.
Mm-hmm.
No, but
Can I say on the air?
Yes, please.
Yes. You know, you can't say it in Jackbox games anymore. You can't type the word.
Can you type arrive?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm arriving. I'm arriving so hard right now. Feel free to cut that.
Oh, anyway. Affirmative, baby. I'm arriving. I'm arriving so hard.
I will be there.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm pulling into the driveway.
The park brake is engaged.
Open the pod bay doors.
I'm parallel parking.
Oh, I got to reset.
The engine is off.
Oh, my backup cam isn't working.
Really gives a new meaning to getting off the bus.
The radio's too loud. Whoops.
I think getting off the bus would be the emphasis, I think.
No, you mean getting the bus off.
Oh, that's true. That sounds like a lot of work, frankly.
All right, so, my lovely panelists, what do you think? Would you like to go first?
So, as an expert sommelier,
it's funny because she's not.
There's not a whole lot to it. It's pleasant. It's definitely like drinkable. It does taste very fruity. But yeah, it's pretty simple. It's pretty good.
This is what I would call a wine mom book club wine, which is it's inoffensive at best and overly sweet at worst. For a Pinot especially, like it's very bright and it's not doing a lot other than that for me.
So would you say it's Pinot twice? 2 Pinot? Wait, let me read something real quick. Yeah, there's literally a Roman numeral 2 Pinot.
It's Il.
It's
No,
Il.
it's 2.
I'd call it.
Il.
I know, but my headcanon is that it's
Okay,
2.
fine.
I wish that
it's written. It looks like a Roman numeral 2.
I just wish they called it Too Pinot, Too Furious.
Now,
That'd be great.
now, before we go to Derek, because I do want to read this part out loud before he responds. With food, Ilpino's racy mountain freshness and light, lively flavors.
Did you say racy?
Yeah.
Yes, racy
What is
mountain
this, the Benny Hill
freshness.
show?
It's talking dirty to me through my mouth. That's great.
I know, right? And light, lively fruit flavor make it the perfect wine to sip with white meats, fresh fish, and vegetarian dishes. Just generally vegetarian, apparently. There's nothing more
If
specific.
there's no meat,
Well,
it's
I've
good enough to
arrived.
eat.
Well, I've arrived.
Yeah. Okay. So, all the better if they offer a little Italian flair, because we have to do that, you know. Our favorite pairing suggestions are grilled lemon basil calamari, chicken piccata, or white pizza topped with, specifically one topped with arugula, pear, and gorgonzola, or a simple prosciutto.
They should have
So
just said
simple, yes.
Simple.
they should have said pair with food, and they would have been fine.
Yeah. But like not red sauces.
This
So
is what it
please
is.
tell me what you think of that, Derek.
You said like a book club wine, right?
Yeah.
Like literally, can just picture a mom going like, yeah, oh, we should order that. Isn't
Racy
there like a
mountain
restaurant down the
freshness?
short on the corner that has calamari?
Yeah.
If they do lemon basil, do you think we could ask for that? Like, I could just picture them like, this is literally just a menu for like white women
Oh
to
my
pick what they
God.
want to eat that day.
No,
Literally,
no, no, no,
yes.
no,
Yes.
honey, no. It's the perfect wine as we do the book club for 50 Shades series. Like it really is. It has the racy mountain freshness and all.
Yeah, it's racy.
It's
That's important.
racy. Yeah, racy.
It's wearing a harness.
But no, this is
Subscribe to nastypig.com.
just a little bit puckery at the end there. It makes me thirsty.
Speaking of
I don't-
racy,
I don't
it's a
know when I'm
little
gonna finish it.
Puckery.
It reminds me of apple juice a little bit.
Well, funny you mentioned that because the aroma is apple, apricot, acacia blossom with notes of lively citrus. It's crisp, it's clean, it has fresh sliced apple, pear, bright lemon, and a mineral edged finish. Boy, do you get that mineral edge.
Now, I always question when they say citrus but don't want to mention the fruit directly.
hmm
Like, what is the citrus?
Or stone
Because
fruit, and they
they-
lead with apples,
they-
which is
they
decidedly not a stone fruit.
They don't. It's because they don't know, and they know that if they put it in the general ballpark, you'll be fine. All right, so let's finish and then swish and drink.
It was
I
like
don't want
inoffensive
any more
until
of
like
that.
I had to swallow it.
It's very tannic.
Yeah.
Like it's extremely tannic upon swallowing. You're right.
Would the wine expert like to chime in?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think all in all, very one-dimensional wine. Super dry, but also would be extremely pleasant, chilled on the patio on a nice, probably 75-degree summer day. Other than that, though, I think it's pretty bad. I think it does what it can do, which is be a summer wine very well, but that's all it's good at. Is just being a wine that you can drink alone on the patio on a warm summer day.
Drink alone, specifically.
That's my summer plans.
Fuck.
Oh yeah, no, specifically alone, because you would never want to share this with people.
No.
They don't need to drink this.
You would never want to be the person that shared this.
The only way that I could think of to like pair this with food for me would be like a Belgiumais sauce and like regret for the night. Like
I'm
that
sorry,
would be.
say
Just
that
only-
word again.
It's like a Belgiumais. It's like a whatever. What's the fucking French for a white sauce?
Bechamel.
Bechamel.
Sorry, again, my dyslexia too.
Belchame.
I don't fucking care. But regardless, a white sauce with pasta I think would pair well with this. But then I'd have to like go cry in my bedroom for a solid 2 hours.
So
after
okay,
that.
but like what I actually pictured when you first said that was you literally just drink the sauce
I would-
out of a container.
I'd
through
be
a
double
straw.
fisting the wine and the sauce.
No. You want to just slightly reduce it enough to where it'll stand up like you could stick a spoon in it and it would still stand upright. Like you want it to be in like a nice thick sauce and
Just
that you
make
can
a
just
nice-
like eat it.
Make a nice slurry.
Thick.
Thank you all for completely correcting me on my fucking awful
Fair.
pronunciation.
Well, if we didn't, someone else would.
Exactly.
All right, so next up we have Capital Z Zinfandel. It is a 2020 wine from Lodi, California. Now, this wine is made, like the description says, when setting out to make this first-class Zinfandel, award-winning winemaker Matt Preitzel made a beeline for Lodi.
Thanks,
known
Matt.
as the Zinfandel capital of California and arguably the world. I can't wait to hear your response to that. This premium area is home to the Golden State's oldest Zin vines. Matt sourced the grapes from a top Lodi grower. They gave him a friends-only price, so he couldn't reveal their name. and the superb 2020 vintage. Capital Z boasts a history of gold medal acclaim from top competitions, plus layers of velvety red and black fruit flavor and sweet spice notes. They go on about the grape and the region, but mostly, I mean, it seems like Lodi declares itself as home of the Zin, and it's unclear as to whether or not that's deserved.
It is.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Now we know.
No, Lodi is actually a fantastic Zin region.
So are you mildly excited for this one? Oh, it's pretty. It's a nice color. All right.
Rub it in, Nam.
I'm sorry, dear.
No, I'm not salty about it.
It's a Zinfandel. I think that's pretty much exactly what a Zinfandel should taste like.
Makes me want Wagyu beef.
A little more chocolatey, I think is what I'd call that.
Was I on it?
Interesting. So, the tasting notes don't say anything about like chocolate or anything like that. It just says, so a medley of rich red fruit and black fruit plus subtly sweet spice notes with a velvety mouth-filling palate. And it has smooth tannins to have a long, satisfying finish. And what we all want is a long and satisfying
We want
finish.
to arrive eventually.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes. But interestingly enough, there's nothing really about chocolate. I mean, it is very velvety. I'm not getting as much of the chocolate, but I'm getting a lot of fruit with like the velvet mouthfeel, which I appreciate.
Well, and it might be the baking spices.
I'm definitely getting some spice. It's kind of like cloves that I'm getting notes of. Not that I know anything about this. I'm just enjoying my wine. This is my favorite wine we've had, but yeah it's kind of spicy.
Yeah, I love this one.
And that's the spiciness is definitely a thing of Zinfandels. It's like kind of the thing that makes Zinfandel a Zinfandel.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely so most of my favorite wines are red wines, but I got to the Zin game a little bit later, and it has just far and away become one of my favorites. So, would you like to add anything to this before I share the food pairing?
It just made me. I just made me want to eat a cheeseburger. Like, there's this Wagyu one at Crave that I like.
Well, funnily enough,
Was I on it?
this bold, concentrated Zinfandel deserves an equally flavorful food pairing. When it's warm enough to fire up the grill, go for barbecued meats like juicy steaks, saucy ribs, or gourmet burgers. First of all, fuck you for saying that grilling is barbecuing. You can definitely tell that these are Yankee people. I don't
Yankee
care.
Doodles.
In cooler months, it'll be delicious with roasted meats or a hearty vegetarian stew. Again,
They really just pass on that vegetarian.
vegetarian.
Like, eat vegetables,
What goes
you're
into
vegetarian.
it? And of course, fans of Big Reds will enjoy sipping capital Z all on its own. So basically, if you're drunk, then you'll like getting drunk on this one.
It's
Yeah.
I have
Fine.
to say, all of the pairings so far for all of these NPR wines are far too broad and vague.
I completely
Because,
agree.
like, a burger is different than barbecue, even the Minnesota barbecue, and that's different than a steak. And so
Yeah.
you wouldn't pair the same wine with all three of those.
I mean,
items.
I could I could very easily see this getting paired with like a beef rib.
Oh yeah,
Like
Beef
this
rib.
would go really well with a beef rib, like specifically a beef rib, like smoked with mesquite. It would be perfect. Even cherry, mesquite or cherry, I think would go really well with
Maybe
this.
this is like a spicy take, but I think it's pair well with like, because I was telling you the other day about like a teriyaki like smoked salmon, like
That could be
something that's
nice.
a little less kind of bold in its flavors. That's
wonder,
more accessible.
No, I wonder if that would war with the spice palette
I
with
don't
this
think
too
so.
much.
A lot of times, what you want to pair with a Zinfandel is something that will stand up to the spice of the Zin and of like the bigness of the Zin. You typically want to pair that with something that is a little bit more flavorful, a little bit more there.
Yeah, I like the chipotle teriyaki salmon that like has a little pop to it, but not overwhelming. I think this would go okay with that because, like you said, there is something in here that almost is chocolatey. I can
think
see it
it's the
too.
baking spices now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to cut the other way on there on the salmon there.
Sure.
I'm not sure I'd want this paired with salmon.
Sure.
Whitefish, maybe.
Maybe, but
I don't think
I think
any
fish largely.
fish.
I think fish just largely isn't fatty enough for this.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe like a really. What about a pollock?
Maybe.
Maybe a pollock. Maybe. But like,
I could see
actually,
this
you
with
know
like a pan fried pollock. Like I feel like it would go
you know
really
what would
well.
pair really well with
Walleye.
this is fish and chips.
Ooh, I've
That's a
never
go.
had
The
walleye,
salters
so I'm
and the chips
guessing
would
I'm
actually-
not from here.
Yeah.
Really well with this. Yeah.
But a nice fish and chips. Although the reason why I brought up pollock is because people are using pollock instead of cod because it's more sustainable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I would see having this with like pan fried catfish. Maybe that's the more common river fish where I'm from. I haven't had walleye, so I'm trusting you on your walleye.
Walleye's a lake fish.
Walleye is a great fish. I wouldn't pair walleye with this though.
Okay.
I would.
Really?
Yeah, I could. I see where Vaughn's
Yes.
coming
No,
from.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Freshly caught fried walleye. Sure.
I could go for fried walleye with this for sure.
But I think
Listen.
that's the bigger thing is fried food goes really well with Zinfandels.
Mhm.
And honestly, I love pizza with Zins.
I've never had
Zin
it.
is really
Is it
good.
really that good? I've
Pizza
never
with
had it.
I
Zinfandel is a
think
great
so, yeah.
podcast
Like
name.
honestly, if
Oh, that
you-
would work out well. I think. I
Not
mean,
this
it's got the
one,
cheese.
but-
It's fatty. It would stand up.
I suppose. I'm just thinking like the acidity of this versus the
Let's
acidity
look
of a pizza
at-
sauce.
let's look
So
at-
this one might not be specifically good, but
Sure.
typically Zinfandel does work really well.
I'll have to
It's
try
very
it.
greasy.
I'm
Makes
really
sense.
shook because we
So-
could
It would absorb a lot
totally
of
get
those
some
juices
fish and
nicely. Yeah.
chips. at
No,
Paris nearby.
no. Also, I do want to say. So I recently had like a chef's special pizza that had like mountain gorgonzola and it had a mustard mornay sauce as its base, and then it had some like nice mushrooms like shiitakes. It was so good. I feel like it would pair really well with this because the pizza was bold and spicy and flavorful and would hit you in the mouth. And I feel like this would actually be a good way to tame it down and just it would be really good together.
Independent of it tasting good. That sounds like some bullshit.
If it's hitting you in the mouth, at least it's consensual. Like, that's good. I'm glad.
Debatable.
pizza.
Listen, I will always eat pizza. You don't need to give me a wine for that.
Well, it's not a wine to eat pizza. It's a wine to go with the pizza that you're already eating.
So, like, every time I eat pizza, I could pull the Zinfandel out of the closet and be like, come with me. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much.
I have a couple of like very cheap Zins that would be perfect for even your basic ass bitch special. So you're gonna have to bleep out that brand name.
It's a good pairing for when your pizza arrives.
Ew!
All right, and
Or when I arrive on my pizza.
Oh my god.
no
Derek,
Listen,
swear to
I've
God.
seen enough.
abuse.
Is it delivery or is it Derek?
There is definitely.
The Huguenot Chenin Blanc, I'm guessing here. 2021, it's from Western Cape WO. I don't know what WO stands for. I'm very sorry.
Wisconsin.
It's the state in South Africa because it comes from South Africa. All right, so the wine, originally from France's Loire Valley. I'm going to fuck that up. Loire? Like noir. Okay. Loire Valley Chenin Blanc made its way to South Africa with French expats. I wonder why. Colonialism.
It's a little bit more complicated than that. This was not. It's not a matter of French colonialism. This was a matter of Dutch and English colonialism. Now, Huguenot were French Protestants at a time before Napoleon, when the French were very much anti-Protestant, and so they were either run out of the country or slaughtered en masse. And a lot of them ended up in South Africa because the Dutch were Protestant and were in control of South Africa at the time.
Also, we have like a fairly well, there used to be a fairly decently sized population in the South.
A lot of them ended up in Louisiana, yeah.
Yeah, the South, like Louisiana, but also in Georgia. Funnily enough, that was one of the like the origin points for Scarlett O'Hara's mom.
That sounds like a joke.
The story of the Protestants fleeing France is actually very similar to the story of the Jews fleeing Spain. That's why there's a strong contingent of Jews in Cuba.
So WO is not a state.
What is that?
It is. It stands for wine of origin.
Oh, it's a classification system for South African wine. That's interesting.
You're welcome. I googled it myself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, babe. All right, so
That's interesting.
and today it's the Cape's flagship white that is the Chenin Blanc. You're in for a gorgeous taste with the Huguenot, crafted by talented winemaker Ryan Puttick at the Franschhoek cellar, which dates back to the early 1900s. This elegant Chenin Blanc celebrates the French Huguenots who settled in the estate's native Franschhoek. Now, about the winemaker itself, Ryan grew up on a farm near Hartswater in the Northern Cape, just about as far away from South Africa's vineyards as you could get. His father inspired his love of wine. Quote, every Sunday lunch, my parents allowed me to smell and taste the wine they were enjoying. My dad would explain all the nuances of the wine, and I was fascinated, end quote. After studying at the Stellenbosch, South Africa's answer to Napa, he trained in Germany before returning home to make world-class wines like this Chenin. All right, so we have all hopefully now tasted it. What do we think of this? This is weird. I can't really pinpoint anything.
All right, I can pinpoint exactly one thing. Drinking this kind of makes me feel like a cat with eyes too big for its brain. Where this just it makes me happy. It tastes like grapefruit. It smells like grapefruit. That's the only thing I'm getting from it. No thoughts, just grapefruit.
I don't understand why we're still calling it the Huguenot. Like, I know it's supposed to honor people and stuff, but there should be a reason why, right? Other than just the style. So I'm going to read y'all the aroma and the tasting notes. Please comment. Expressive floral notes supported by ripe citrus, passion fruit, and hints of honey. Balanced and elegant with fresh acidity and vibrant honeysuckle, peach, pineapple, and passion fruit flavors. A lemony zest graces the lengthy finish. Again with the finish!
Acidity and sugar. That's what I'm getting.
No thoughts, only grapefruit.
It's so sweet.
I'm not getting any citrus from it, really.
I describe it as borderline like overpowering.
It's not too dry. I appreciate that from a white.
Listen,
Yeah.
It's not too dry though, which is nice. But
once again, ripe
I don't
citrus.
know.
What citrus?
I think
Tell
I don't
me.
know enough
Grapefruit. Head empty, only grapefruit.
Yeah, head empty, only grapefruit. Now, I don't know enough about this grape to necessarily speak specifically to it, but I mean, I would say that those tasting notes are kind of on, kind of not. I mean, tasting notes typically are a lot of preloading your palate to expect flavors.
Mm-hmm.
So when they supply you with tasting notes, it's more, here are the flavors to expect, not here are the flavors that you're actually going to taste.
So real quick, you mentioned the grape. This is the only card. This is the only card of the ones that we're sampling this episode that does not actually talk about the grape and instead talks about the winemaker. So, like, I was like, you want to know what? The first two said grape. Let's check it. No, this is the only one that talks about the winemaker. So apparently Ryan Puddock is hot shit. Also, I feel like this would go really well with a very like pungent garlic sauce of some kind. So with food, so Franschhoek is a member of the Delitzsch.
Oh, that's just French. It's délice.
Thank you. Network of good food cities of the world. So Ryan takes food pairings for his fine Chenin Blanc seriously. All right, that's half of the actual fucking text of the thing is talking about how seriously he takes this. He loves to serve it with seafood like baked haddock and chips or even sushi. It would be equally tasty with spatchcock chicken or herbed pork chops. Oh my god, again. Vegetarians can try it with creamy pastas or mildly spicy noodle bowls.
What?
Feels like anytime they address the vegetarians,
you know what?
it's like
I don't want either of
child
those
eating.
things.
Like a stew
Okay.
or a small
agree.
platter of crackers.
I want a cheese board. Okay, I want pungent
Blue.
cheeses, pungent soft cheeses.
I think absolutely.
Are they confusing vegetarians and vegans? Because they're not talking about the cheese possibilities
Right.
with this.
Cheese. I also sorry. Go ahead, Danielle.
I feel like this would be great with a goat cheese
Mhm.
or like a
Right.
blue maybe, but goat.
Ooh, like maybe a nice garlic sauce poured
Yeah.
on top of the goat cheese log with like a nice crostini, and you smear it on there. Oh, it'd be so
I'm
good.
saying like a
I'm so
cranberry
hungry.
cinnamon log. That's-
No,
Oh yeah.
I've had
got
one of
three,
those
like-
before.
Thank you.
I want the garlic with this. I want savory.
You can have both.
You could have both.
True.
I would go back and forth between both as the bisexual here.
Oh, you're a real switch hitter. I mean, you are not the only bisexual
I think
here.
we can all agree. With a solid platter of goat cheese, we all would arrive.
Hey, cheers to bisexuality,
Yes.
though. We love it.
But also, I was thinking like a really spicy burrito would go really well with this. Like no spicy food with this because it's so overpoweringly sweet to balance it out.
Okay, I know that I may be alone in this, but I am not noticing the sweetness. I don't taste any honey or honeysuckle. It's kind of dry to me.
So far, that's all I can get from it.
It's So for me, it's not necessarily sweet, but it's definitely not dry. I can say it's definitely not dry. It's not sweet enough for me to consider it like the because I've had really sweet wines. I mean, my family is like very German, and we would have Riesling and stuff like that, and like ice wine and
Sure.
shit. And this is not as sweet as those. So
Maybe my
I'm
palate's
thinking
just
it's
fucked
kinda
up,
like-
but that's all. It's like I'm drinking a juicy juice
Yeah.
box.
You might be conflating the like juiciness with the sweetness
Entirely possible.
because
Sure.
there's a lot of overlap in those two flavor
Sure.
profiles, or I guess those profiles, because juiciness slash I guess the anti too dry is sweet,
hmm
but you can have a very liquidy, juicy wine that can taste very sweet to somebody,
Mhm.
but isn't very sweet because it might be more tart to somebody else.
Not to mention the last two wines we had were more dry, and this is probably my palate overcompensating too. That's valid. Yeah.
And maybe it's not the dryness that I'm noticing, but the tartness. I typically don't really like white wines, but this one is very good. Which I wasn't expecting to enjoy it, but I do notice like the pineapple flavor. It's got that citrus tartness, which may be what the grapefruit that Merlin is enjoying so much.
I would say I would not pair fish with this.
No.
Oh, certainly not.
Certainly not.
No.
Never in a million years.
I do not
Sorry.
understand the baked haddock. Like I would want something a little bit more heady and like forward and that would last longer.
Yeah,
Right, like
well, it's
sushi, maybe.
well, it depends.
No, sushi's a big maybe.
It would depend on the
Um,
sushi.
One, haddock is a no, but also any baked fish I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole with this.
I think they're doing the like you put fish with white wine kind of pairing, which is like such a stupid oversimplification
I agree.
of
It's
Wine?
lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy.
It's extremely lazy. Like it's old hat at this point. What are we in the 60s?
All right, so the
Happy
next,
Proud Month.
so we're gonna take a break from our usual banter and go into Not My Wine here for our next segment, where we consult with a wine expert about an NPR wine. So I'll go ahead and introduce this next wine rather than M. This is the NPR wine for this week, or this month rather, in the wine pack. This is the How I Built This with Guy Raz Tana from Lodi, 2020 vintage. How I Built This is an NPR program about innovators, entrepreneurs, idealists, and the stories behind the movements they built. And I guess this pairs well with a Tana. Like many of these founders, the Tana grape is bold, thick-skinned, and adapts easily to its surroundings. It gained fame in southwest France, went on to conquer Uruguay, and has now struck gold in Lodi, the heart of California's gold rush, where it exudes layers of lush, dark fruit flavors with a hint of spice. And so let's pour this around here, and we will give our wine expert, Vaughn, precedence for this tasting.
Okay, so How I Built This is an NPR program about innovators, entrepreneurs, idealists, and the movements they built. We couldn't think of a better way to honor these visionaries than with this equally bold and brash Tana. I'm guessing that's how you say that. Hailing from the premium Lodi region, home of some of California's richest reds and the heart of the historic gold rush. No mention of being home of the Zin. This exclusive red wine was left unoaked to allow its pure flavors to shine. Look forward to intense black currant and blueberry, supported by bitter chocolate and earthy spice notes. Perfect for a hearty meal. See over for food pairing ideas. Before we get to that, please tell me what you think of this right now.
Well, first and foremost, I'm really curious what they mean by it was not oaked. Because does that mean that it was stored in stainless steel
Or
barrels? Or pine? Yeah, like that is a very important thing to know is how is this wine being aged? If it's not in oak, what is it? Because like stainless steel is going to provide a very, very different flavor profile than anything else.
Okay, I'm reading like every single thing. It has the stuff about the grape, the Tannat grape, which apparently the defining characteristic is the thick skin. It's talking about the show, like literally that's a category. The show. Big ideas are often built on small beginnings. Like why? It's literally an advertisement for the How I Built This.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's be
It's
real.
just-
This whole thing
I
is
don't-
advertisements.
Also true. Vaughn, I'm nowhere near the expert that you are, but I this definitely isn't stainless steel.
Are y'all?
I would agree.
It doesn't have the kind of, not just necessarily like metallic, but also the shallowness. I think I'm gonna guess pine. If I had to guess one.
So can
But
I
I could be
ask you? Do you get the bitter chocolate? Because I'm not getting bitter chocolate. I'm getting spicy and maybe a little bit of blueberry, but I'm not really getting chocolate, and I'm really sensitive to chocolate.
I would agree. I don't get chocolate at all. So it's interesting that they called it, but I guess to each their own.
I'm getting it in the middle of it. Try a sip of it and look for it in the middle of the palate and see what you think. Because I'm sensing a little bit of that, like, I think very dark chocolate.
Still don't get it.
I can feel it.
Can I just say I don't
get
taste
dark
anything?
fruit.
You
Just
what?
like
Dark fruit.
It's dark fruit.
currant, blackberry.
again,
Like
we-
black currant and blueberry supported by
Well, like you mentioned, that could also just be a psychological thing that they want to implant in, right? So
Also, I mean, I feel like they're maybe saying bitter chocolate because it says firm tannins, and people typically have like that dry acidic taste on their tongue with chocolate. So maybe they're relying completely on that.
on like the tannic structure to define chocolate, which is weird that they would do that, but whatever. I find it very interesting because thick skin should imply high tannins because what forms tannins in wines are the skin of the grape, and that's why you have red wines are typically more tannic because the red grape skins have more tannins in them. But I don't get that same amount of tannic structure that I would expect from a grape that is known to be thick-skinned. So I guess I'm curious what they did to remove those tannins.
Maybe they skinned the grapes.
Maybe, but then that would be a rosé. Because rosé is a red grape that then you don't add the skins to.
What if you skinned half of every grape?
All right.
I'm just coming up with options here. We're trying to solve a mystery. We gotta look at all the angles.
I'm also surprised at how dry it feels compared to how relatively low tannic it is too. Like,
Yeah. It's
So-
like instead of tannic, it's dry.
yeah,
So, from the wine expert's perspective, I'm about to read that with food section. Can you construct the perfect food pairing for how I built this tenant? Here is a hint. The firm, dry tannins make it a tasty foil for richer foods. Red meats, beef, lamb, or bison, specifically beef, lamb, or bison. Fuck pork, apparently. Will be a it can be
It's the other
will
way.
be a great foundation for a meal. Hearty stews or casseroles starring beef, lentils, or root vegetables are another top choice. Or enjoy a glass with a mature hard cheese. I could see this going with a manchego.
I mean, cheddar too.
Can't go wrong with cheese.
Cheese is nice.
Again, they really love their very broad definitions of here's what you pair. They really lean into.
the bison's a nice change though. We haven't really heard a lot about bison. I do think bison's a nice with this, and also I was thinking it's like drinking this. I was considering like lamb and lentil together in like a stew. For how much they enjoy their apparently stews, this really pairs well with like a savory flavor as compared to the other reds we've had lately.
That would be more.
This is a great compliment versus it wouldn't be a battle of flavors.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference in this one than the other ones is that it is much less in your face about what it tastes like.
It is.
And so you would then pair it with something maybe a little bit more subdued or subtle to kind of add to both. I will say the tannins are coming through now.
Yeah.
And more of the, like, I don't know if you guys get it, but the tongue effect.
No, it's sandier almost on the tongue.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that always to me is indication of high tannins, which is fascinating that you don't taste that.
So,
It's just an after effect.
Danielle, you have not really touched too much of your glass, which makes me think that you don't really like this as much. And considering Merlin and I's evaluation that we've been shit talking this wine, while the two apparent wine people have been talking, makes me think that you might agree with Merlin and I.
I have some thoughts. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but I am tasting full industrial revolution in this wine.
Oh my God, no.
Industrial Revolution. She's
Emma and I were
serving
just talking
steamboat
It tastes
jetpack.
like paint.
I can totally see that. Absolutely.
It's straight turpentine, right?
Yeah, I'm tasting the smell of gas. I am tasting like steel buildings coming up in the skyline. I'm tasting the guy who like introduces the Legend of Korra episodes, like that radio host. Like,
Hello, everybody. We've got a new wine for you to taste today.
how we built this.
Yeah, how I built this, it's out of bricks, evidently. Like, it tastes like a brick.
I think I don't even know if we're even positive on it. It's more that like it's a more layered, weird selection than we've had the last couple of tries here.
Do you want
I
the?
wouldn't even say this is good. I'd say this is just kind of more weird than anything else.
Yeah, and I think there is a lot of complexity to it, which
Mhm.
is what we are speaking to.
Right.
And just because a wine is complex does not mean that it's good.
Much like film, I can respect Primer. I don't have to like watching fucking Primer.
All
Fuck that
right.
movie.
All right. Do you
But I
want
would
the?
say
Do you want the?
I do actually enjoy this wine.
Ew.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you can
actually
have all
don't
of it.
hate it. It's very unique.
I'd say I wouldn't drink this solo ever. I would only pair this, and that does in fact like that.
No, I agree with that
influences
because we are consuming this without anything else. I would eat this with a hard cheese plate.
Easily.
I would eat this with maybe like
Mhm.
any red meat. I would eat it with like a really nice pork chop, like a thick cut,
Protein.
like slightly bloody. It very good.
Can I maybe posit a
Sure.
question to the table here, which is, and I just like to poke the bear. Olives. What do we think? of
Fuck
this-
you.
Okay,
Yeah. Same.
thank you.
Fuck you.
No,
Yeah.
no, I
Great.
could go for some olives with this.
I don't.
Black
I don't-
olives,
I
not
don't fuck
green.
with
I was
olives.
thinking maybe a little bit of black olives with this.
Mhm.
Might the saltiness of them? I'd be not even saying it'd be good. I'd just be curious to see how they would match
Fuck
and
olives.
fight.
See, I would put an olive on each finger and just put my fingers through them, and then
You
try
know
to
what?
touch people on the train. That's my only.
I
relationship
don't
with olives.
like it, but I see where you're
Kalamata.
coming from with olives, right? Some dry Moroccan olives.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not talking like saturated in grease shit. I'm talking
Hold on.
something dry.
Hold on. Figs with manchego.
Absolutely.
With this.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you ready for the dumb gay bitch take on this wine?
Yes, please, dear.
Please.
Remember when we drank on for those of us who were at this cast the seltzer that was Coors, was it Coors Light? It was either Coors Light or Buzz Light. One of the easy to forget ones.
Okay.
And I remember drinking it, and it was like drinking like Mind Eraser formula. Like I could chug this, I could shoot this.
I
could
was
forget
not
that it
here for
ever
this.
happened.
We only have 2 people of the 6 people.
Yeah, it was a Corona seltzer, and I just remember it was like I would take a sip to get like my opinion on it, and by the time I took my mouth like the glass away from my mouth, could not remember it. This, I'm sure you can find something if you're looking for it, but it does not have a presence. Every time I drink it, I'm just like, what?
It makes my mouth dry, and I would like it to be over now. I want to have something to pair with it. I feel like it also could go decently well with like a nice New York style pizza.
No, absolutely. Derek, I'm actually going to disagree 100%. I think this has an overabundance of presence, which makes it difficult to like
Well,
pin
you're
down.
fucking weird.
I am indeed. Well, you knew this
Mwah.
already. Mwah. But
Abundance is a strong word. Like
I would
just
agree with this though.
I'm sure
With
you would.
Josh.
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of flavor here.
to the point that it becomes frustrating because I can't pin down what I like and don't like about it.
It's so for me personally, I understand that there might be a lot of flavor, but the fact that it dries out my mouth so much basically erases most of the flavor for me. I am not a wine person. I like juicier wines. I'm not about the dry wine, and this one is just too overly drying to where I can't fully enjoy
Maybe
the
that's
flavors.
it. Maybe it's just like I can't taste anything because it's just so fucking dry in there.
like
Which is-
immediately my mouth
That
is
is
dry.
the tannic component
It is,
of this.
and
Is that overabundance of dryness?
and I have always said that I do not like dry wines. So this is, I mean, it tracks that I don't like this one very
And to
much.
remember, this is a valid take. Again, I think like we're all saying like, I love that this was, which is I wouldn't pair this with anything like other than food. I wouldn't drink this solo, and I don't think anybody here is vouching for this one as like a on its own summer day kind of wine. It's like this is a fascinating experiment, one that has varying degrees of success. I think for everyone at the table.
I could actually see this more so being like a fall or winter wine going with a casserole, like
Totally.
a tater tot casserole. It'd be
It does
pretty
say
tasty.
hearty stews or casserole.
thinking-
Or
like a
like
like a
a green
stroganoff.
bean.
I
Yeah,
Yeah.
stroganoff.
think,
Yeah.
I think you mean a tater tot hot dish.
Fuck that.
Sorry, it is
A
a hot
green
dish.
bean hot
Thank
dish?
you. Fuck.
Yes,
I was
I'm so
holding back.
sorry.
It's a fucking hot dish.
Tater
just
tots,
wait.
It's a hot dish.
Yes, I meant a tater tot hot dish.
I'm
I
sorry, it's a
apologize.
casserole.
No, I'm
You will
sorry.
Never. All right, and welcome listeners back after our little
Tangent?
Big.
interlude of some sort where we started getting very aggressive about soft drinks. I call it all Coke, and Coke you can,
Which is just wrong.
please don't come for me on that one, but whatever.
Don't make me whip out the World's Fair Coke.
Let us go through a lightning round of ratings. So I think that we have to go with the wine expert first. Give me your lightning round of all of the different wines. We started with Ilpino, then we went to Capital Z, then we went to the Huguenot, then we went to How I Built This.
Yep. I'm trying to remember now what the positive ratings were.
Derek, please explain.
So our rating system starts at the top with buy. Buy means go out there, go buy it. It's wonderful. No holds barred. Then we've got try. Maybe not for everybody, but it has qualities that you can definitely see are worth looking into. You've got sigh, which is mediocre. Maybe has a place in the market, but you wouldn't really recommend it with any flying colors. Then we've got cry. Cry is bad. Definitely will provoke a reaction that is negative, but it's not as bad as die. Die being fucking kill this with fire. We also have sometimes why, which is to say, why does this exist? It doesn't even matter if this is good or bad. Who was this for? And so
Alright.
it goes our rating system.
Well, and so I think this is a really easy rating for me because all of them get a try. I think they are all good in a specific category, which is what's kind of important with wines, is that they don't have to be good across the board. They have to be good at something. And as long as it's good at something, there will always be someone who's looking for that in a wine. Therefore, I think they all get a try because they might have something for you or they might not. And that's why you should try it.
All right, Danielle,
Cop
how do you
out.
feel about the wines?
Okay, so I feel pretty aligned with the wine expert. However, I would say that the Pinot Grigio was probably more of a sigh for me. The Capital Z and honestly the How I Built This were probably my favorites, and I did actually like the Huguenot, if I am saying that correctly.
You're saying it right in English.
Cool. I am very English over here, so I thought that one was also a try. Honestly, the How I Built This is growing on me the more I drink it, so that one might be more of a buy. But yeah, all of them are at least a try, except for the Pinot Grigio.
All right, Josh, how do you feel about all of our wines?
So the Two Pinot Two Furious is a solid sigh. Unlike the film that it's named after, which is of course a great film by John Singleton.
I've never seen it.
We gotta watch Too Fast, Too Furious
Listen, it's
together.
how I would never have
It
I
is
ever.
a bisexual movie to its core. It's incredible.
Okay,
It's
fine.
so good.
All
Anyways,
right, you got me.
it's oh my god, Tyrese in that movie. Who?
We'll touch on it later.
Capital Z is it's a very hesitant sigh. It's fine. All these wines were fine. Nothing about them screamed to me. The Huguenot is a solid try. It's a solid try. And then the How We Built This is a why for me. Mostly because, much like everyone at this table, I couldn't figure out quite what it was or where it belonged in the pantheon of wines that we'd had so far. We all had such various different takes that I can't see anyone approaching it knowing quite what it is or what they want from it.
All right, and Derek, how do you feel about the wines?
Turn them around. I want to look at their labels. I want them to look me in the eyes while I rate them. Let's see. Wonderful, wonderful.
Glass, babe.
Yes. Oh, we're gonna soup this up real nice and good, aren't we? Yeah, I know this is painful for you sommeliers to watch, but
I
It's what I have
insist
to
on
do.
trying it.
you will.
That's
If you- why I'm if you so pouring a little bit desire.
Heavy, so that way everything can...
Honestly, if you just mix the reds with the reds and the whites with the whites, it would be better.
No, that's not the point. It's not
No.
supposed to be
I
good.
know,
it's
it's
a
not
soup.
It's supposed to be a travesty.
I'll do you one. I'll do that one.
But I don't want to actually drink it
There's
now.
actually fucking water. Yeah.
Love it.
That was nasty.
It's not great.
It's not. Yeah.
Um,
You know, it's too well.
So the two Pinot, two Furious, as it is affectionately known, I actually didn't mind too much. I actually kind of like that one. I'd say give that one a try for me. And as someone who doesn't usually drink Pinot, it actually has me interested in trying maybe a few other ones. The Z for Zinfandel. I really just wanted to eat a cheeseburger the entire fucking time. Just the entire goddamn time, I just wanted the cheeseburger.
Yes.
Like, that's it. I don't remember anything about the wine itself. I know I'm a wine dum-dum brain, but that's what my wine dum-dum brain thought the entire time. The Huguenot, whatever. I want to do it the right way, but I can't. Huguenot is fine. I think that one's a sigh for me.
I mean, it was probably maybe the best thing to come out of 2021.
Yeah, maybe if you give it a few more years in the oven, it might have something.
Bo Burnham special.
Bo Burnham special, fine, but we're talking about consumables.
Yes. Okay. In the world of consumables, I will let that stand. How I built this, the first thing that stands out to me is it looks like it's a TV show on HGTV.
Like Homes on
Especially
Homes.
since it says with
This
Guy
old-
Raz.
This old
Like,
house is what I was thinking
yeah.
of.
I expect Guy Fieri to pop up and start building a house instead of getting a
Flavortown.
wine.
It's the Flavortown Mansion.
He's
He
building
can build Flavortown. Thank
Let's
you.
go.
Let's go.
Put Guy Fieri on this bottle. It is a buy from me. Other than that, it is currently a why. I don't know why it exists.
Put anyone on that bottle. Let's buy. Put Billy Mays' corpse on that bottle, and I will buy it.
Literally.
All right. Okay. So we are bringing this back around to me, your lovely host, your charming host, the wonderful M the Texan. All right. So the Pinot, I'd give it a try. The Zin, I'd like to actually just drink all of this with a nice, wonderful steak. The Huguenot, I would honestly, I would buy this one. I do not like whites, but I do like this white wine. And how I built this, it's a sigh. It was just way too like mouth dry-y that I couldn't really get into it. And I understand that I hate dry wines, so I mean it tracks for me. And that takes us to the end of this lovely podcast. Thank you all for joining in and listening to us. And Merlin, would you like to say anything real quick?
Thank you for tuning in for another week of Wait, Don't Drink Me, the NPR Wine Club review show. In a moment, we'll be asking our panelists what they think the next NPR show is that will be featured in one of the Wine Club wines. But before we do that, Derek is going to try the soup.
Oh boy! Now I want to add that we actually had Josh over here came up with the bright idea of mixing the white wines together.
No, that was Vaughn.
That was
Was that
Vaughn.
Vaughn?
I'm not going to take credit for that. That was Vaughn's
Okay.
idea.
Vaughn recommended that. I will say when you make the whites, it tastes really good.
So we're gonna try 3 different soups, and it's gonna be, and I'll chant you in. So this is the all-in-one soup.
Uh-huh.
So soup.
All right.
soup,
And then
soup,
in the
soup,
spirit
soup.
of it, I'm going to chug.
Don't drink all of it.
Not great. Try this though.
And reaction.
Yeah. Here it is. I felt like something solid was in my throat through that entire experience.
But it's not.
Would anyone else like?
I would like to try. Yeah,
It
hand it
was-
over.
I think part of it was weirdly aerated. Like I felt like bubbles. Oh
No,
my
that's
God.
just dry. Let me try the.
I
Let me
will
try the
say,
whites.
Nothing felt as clammy as how I built
This
this.
is disgusting. This is fucking.
See, I could
This
drink
is
that.
This is disgusting. No, I could absolutely drink it. The red is actually difficult for me to drink. This is tolerable, mostly because it's just like full-bodied fruit palooza
And
down my gullet.
Meanwhile, both of the 2 whites we mixed together actually blend really nicely. Like I could see that being sold as blended.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try the stew. And this is the red stew.
Red stew. Oh,
What?
Wow.
wow.
Jesus Christ!
Wow.
The Zen is 15%.
Oh
Oh my God.
Oh,
Is that a lot?
well, that's my favorite.
That's
So
That is a lot. I
Or you have
will
to drink
say,
this all, right?
there's a lot to be said about looking at the
Ugh.
percentages of your alcohol content for wine, because a lot of times higher percentages mean that they are doing something in their process that is not good.
So both of the reds mixed together, just it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I don't think I liked either of them individually anyway.
I'm channeling my inner Randy Jackson. This is a no for me, dog.
No, I agree.
All right,
And I'm
so
channeling Paula Abdul. I'm just dancing.
okay, so Merlin, I
hated
think
it.
that takes us towards the end.
All right,
Okay,
panelists,
baby.
what do you think is the next NPR show that's going to be featured on Wait, Wait, Don't Drink Me? Danielle.
I don't listen to enough NPR, so I'm sorry.
Josh.
As with the last podcast, this is All Things Considered. That's what I'm going to go with. All Things Considered.
And Derek.
That sound it make when you drink milk too fast.
My favorite feature on NPR.
M, our host,
I mean, I hope that Code Switch gets some love because it's a really good one.
and our wine expert, Vaughn.
I just want a Freakonomics one.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
I
All
have
right,
arrived.
and with that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
And if any of those show up in the wine box next week, listeners, you'll hear about it on Wait, Wait, Don't Drink Me, the NPR Wine Club review show. Hey, me again with the contact info for all you super fans and brand reps who want to send us stuff. You can slide into our DMs on Instagram at instagram.com/Seltzerquest, or you can email us at holler@seltzerquest.com. That's holler@seltzerquest.com. Stay tuned and remember, don't sniff the seltzer.